Another Dooley Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Appreciate our sponsors so much. And of course, Titan is a sponsor of the Bob Dooley, as is Leonardo's, another of our sponsors. So we appreciate them. Coach Spurrier will be on in a minute. We'll have Robbie Andrew on as well for Yes, No Way, or Maybe. Thursday's guest still up in the air. I've got two people on the hook, and I'm trying to figure out which one's going to – whoever texts me back next who said, maybe I can do it, let me just check something, will be on the show. And it'll be good either way, I promise you that. Let's get to our Process Service of Gainesville Starting Five, brought to you by Process Service of Gainesville and the great Scott Hart. We appreciate Process Service of Gainesville for being our sponsor of the Starting Five. And let's start with number one, which to me, and I'm always trying to do the five biggest stories in our community, not the five biggest stories in the world. Okay, I'm not going to do House of Representatives passes funding bill. It's not going to be the number one story. Ukraine bombed, or my number one story is going to be the story that affects our community. To me, the number one story of this weekend was Florida getting Elijah Martin. Now, Elijah Martin, some of you don't know who that is, played at Florida Atlantic, was on their Final Four team. He is the guard they needed to go get, a 6'2" guy who is very physical. And just exactly what they were. He was their top priority for that to replace Zion Pullen. Let me give you some stats, and I love the consistency of this young man. I'm looking forward to meeting him. So here's his last 3 years at FAU scoring: 13.1, 13.4, 13.9. His last 3 years of rebounding: 5.9, 5.3, 5.3. Very consistent. He's going to give you 13 and 5 all the time. And 41.4% from three-point range. He's exactly what they wanted. He's who they prioritized for that position. And Todd Golden continues to kill it in the transfer portal. It's a big deal because that was my biggest concern. Look, you can try to develop point guards, but point guards aren't going to be ready right away unless they're Anthony Hardaway or somebody that's ridiculous. Yes, was Andrew Nembhard was probably ready right away. I don't think Scotty Wilbekin, who just went into the Hall of Fame. But this is what this is the way they're going to try to do this every year. I think pretty much is get a guy in here who can play the point, can be physical, can do things that you need for a senior leader, and then next year you retool and get another one. And I got no problem with it. It's the way it operates these days, as you know. So that was my number one story. My number two story was how softball won the series against South Carolina, because obviously they split the first two, so you get to game three, and it's a big game. You lose that game, you're kind of out of the race. And if you win it, you're only 2 games out of first place where Tennessee is sitting. So they win the series, and they win it in a weird way because a young lady, and I got to be honest with you, I had no idea who she was, and I saw her name on I was just reading it on StatCast, and Mackenzie Wooten. I go, who is Mackenzie Wooten? She must be pitching for the other team. No, she's pitching for Florida. And she actually won 2 games in relief. Unbelievable. Somebody who's only pitched 5 innings all year. It's pretty incredible to see this story. Now, if you go on FloridaGators.com, Chris Harry did a great story on her. She's majoring in physical therapy. She's a grad student from Virginia. Didn't really come here thinking she would just come here, work hard. Maybe maybe you'll be able to pitch at some point in a game this year. And now she's got 2 big wins for Florida. So it's just a great story. And she probably should be our Adams Ribco to go Gator of the weekend, but I had somebody else in mind, but maybe she should be. Maybe we'll give it to both of them. Anyway, softball winning that series was big. Now, very interesting week for softball. Wednesday, Florida State comes to town. That's always a big rivalry. Not only that, FSU's really good in softball, as they are in baseball. And then you go to Georgia for 3 games, and Georgia's really good. So it's going to be interesting to see how they get through these 4 games. But congratulations to them for winning that series against South Carolina. Number 3 was Billy Horschel winning down at in Dominican Republic. Beautiful resort there. And the course looked great, too, but the winds came up the last day, and what did Horschel do? Shoot 63. How about stick that? Okay, 63, wins it easily, and sets a course record and the record for the lowest they've ever had at that tournament. Now, that tournament's going on while the Heritage was going on, but not only everybody can play in there's only so many players that they'll put as a designated tournament. So Billy was smart to go down there and play. And we'll get to win, makes a lot of money, and proud of him. He's my guy, you know that. Really proud of what Billy was able to do, and he's had some real struggles. And they talked to him afterwards about how emotional he was at the Memorial last year. If you remember, 2 years ago he won the Memorial, and it was such a big deal. I was so happy. And the next year he shot 83, I think, or 84 at the Memorial, and afterwards he was lost. His game was gone. He just was lost, and he was pretty emotional and fought back, and that's the Billy I know, is the guy who will fight and keep coming at you. And to win this meant a lot to him and meant a lot to his family, and appreciate him. He's a good friend of our golf tournament. In fact, he is going into I mentioned this to somebody the other day, and they were saying, "Nah, well, that's a lot," but he's got 8 wins now, which is amazing to have 8 wins on tour. That's pretty impressive. If he gets to 15, he gets into the Hall of Fame, the World Golf Hall of Fame. On 3 Saturdays, well, what? 2 Saturdays from this Saturday, he is going in the Bob Dooley Invitational Hall of Fame because of all the great things he's done for us. And I'll never forget I didn't really know Billy very well, and reached out to him to see if he could help us out with our tournament. And he sent us, in fact, my brother went and picked him up. He sent us the irons he used, really nice set of irons, to beat Rory McIlroy in the Walker Cup. And I'm like, we can use those. I'm like, well, what do we do? Do we give one away at a time? No, we just gave them all away, and somebody won it in the silent auction. But he's given us bags. He's given us a foursome at Players Championship. And we'll see what he brings us this year. I can't wait to see. Maybe it'll be a flag from that tournament. Anyway, proud of Billy. So happy for him. And hopefully this sparks him to do some great things. All right, let's turn to number 4, which this is not maybe as big a story here, but it's still a big story. And what Scheffler and Korda did. Now, of course, Scheffler finished it up this morning because they had a rain delay and everything. It's just ridiculous what he's doing. He's won. The only tournament he didn't win, he missed a little short putt to go to a playoff. That's the only one he hasn't won out of the last 5. It's amazing. And Korda has won 5 in a row on her own. Now, I don't watch a lot of women's golf, to be honest with you. Nothing wrong with it. I don't really have... I think if there were some Gators on the women's tour, and there aren't too many. I don't think there are any anymore. There used to be a couple. There may be 1 or 2 out there, but they're not really in that mix of what you see of the champions. But I watched this because it was a major and because she was playing so well, and I'd been hearing a lot about it and reading a lot about it. But Scotty Scheffler, man, it's crazy. It's crazy what's going on with him. And I know that there are going to be people who say, look, yeah, 5 in a row. Yeah, you know why? Because the live guys aren't there. And John Rahm's not beating him. Kepka's not beating him. DeChambeau's not beating him. And they were all there at Augusta. They didn't beat him there either. You can say what you want. Winning 4 out of 5 tournaments on the PGA Tour, still pretty impressive. And it's very lucrative. I think he's made $20 million so far this year. Not bad. But his baby hasn't been born yet. We got to get that baby out of there. In fact, I was going to tell this joke. If the baby's not born and I'm doing the announcements for the golf tournament, I'm just going to say, I got to warn you guys that if Scotty Scheffler's wife has her baby, I have to leave. But I don't. Maybe I won't do that. Anyway, all right. So that was going on this weekend. Also, I am going to mention Gator baseball, and obviously another disappointing weekend, losing 2 out of 3. Came back though to win that third game, and that was big. Again, Jack Caglione. I talked about this last year a little bit, and it turned out I was wrong, and they went long way. I was worried they were wasting Wyatt Langford, that this guy is one of the greatest players ever at Florida, and they're wasting him because they were struggling, and then, boom, they caught fire, and I was like, boy, was I wrong about that. They get all the way to the national title game. Right now, it feels like that with Cags. Now, you can't say that they're wasting him because we're talking about a team that went to the national championship with him playing for him, obviously, and him pitching for him. In fact, he pitched in the last game, right? I believe, yeah. Pitched in the last game. Did not pitch well. But what he's doing this year is unbelievable. And, I mean, he's got to win the Golden Spikes, but he may not because Florida's record may be so bad. Pitching well, obviously going 9 straight games with a homer. Nobody's there. Well, one guy's done it. Tied the record. Didn't get his 10th one. But Shellnut with a big 3-run homer was huge for Florida to win that game, the final game. But, man, Cags, and I'm really excited that we have a signed batting helmet from him. That's going to go for a lot of money in the silent auction. He's just incredible. He defies – what I don't know if I've ever seen anything like it, and I've heard a lot of announcers say that, including Jeff. So I'll talk to Jeff about it today, but it's pretty amazing. I just wish they were playing better, and again, pitching is an issue, as we all know. All right, that's going to do it for our Process Service of Gainesville starting 5. We'll take a break. When we come back, Coach Spurrier will join us. He will join us, and then, of course, after that, we'll take another break, and Robbie Andrew will join us for Yes, No Way, or Maybe. All that, and plus all the other fun stuff we have coming up here on another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Process Service of Gainesville offers a rapid turnaround on affidavits of service for Gator lawyers locally and nationwide. Our friend Scott Hart offers immediate responses on status requests and is a member of NAPS and FAPS. And he has been a part of the community for almost 2 decades. Need service? Call Process Service of Gainesville at 407-697-9592 or email shartgators, that's G8TR, at yahoo.com. And make sure you ask about the paralegal legal secretary bonus program.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another duly noted podcast. This is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it. Okay, and welcome into another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. And, of course, we're here at Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. And on Meldon Mondays, we always have Coach Spurrier in to talk about a lot of things. He just celebrated another birthday. That was Saturday, right?
Yeah, another birthday. Thankful. Pretty good health, spirit-wise, and my mind's still pretty good. The doc told me your heart and lungs look real good. but your spine's got some arthritis in it.
No,
So if the worst
I
thing
know the
ever,
feeling.
worst thing ever gets arthritis, I can live with that hopefully a long time. But yeah, really blessed, fortunate, and all that, and looking forward to a lot of good years ahead.
Are you 79? Nine.
79.
Wow.
I've been to a couple funeral services, a couple of teammates in the last couple of months. And so sometimes in life we all need to sit back and count our blessings. And I'm trying to do that all the time.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that too at 69, and which my wife is always knows how old you are because she said Steve's 10 years older than you.
I read somewhere a long time ago that old age is always 10 years above wherever you're at. So to you, old age is 79. To me, an old son of a gun is 89.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, believe me, I want to see
10 years
79
ahead.
as much as you want.
Yeah,
We're able to see it. It's great. But we had a lot of stuff to watch over the weekend, a lot of different action. Obviously, gymnastics did not go as well as expected. They kind of had one of those nights that you don't want to have, but they finished fourth in the country. You used to finish fourth in the country, and everybody go, I hope you're going to do better next year. I don't know if people are going to say that to Jenny Rowland because of all the people they were missing for this. So.
Well, Jenny had basically almost an all-freshman team. I think one or two maybe veteran performers. But to win the SEC regular season, that was beautiful to do. Did not win the tournament. And finished fourth in the nation. And I really feel sad for the Utah ladies because they had a heck of a tournament going. And I think the balance beam was the last event. And if one of the girls fell off, they could still win. But two of them actually fell off, and their point total went down. And I see LSU end up being national champion. That was their first ever. So SEC dominating. It's probably good to see Oklahoma didn't win again. They've won, 3 or 4 in a row, I think it was.
Well, that was the interesting thing was so that would have been on Friday or Thursday night when they had the semifinals. And if Alabama and Oklahoma, it was just like one after another just kept falling. And I wasn't watching it. My wife was. And she would come in to where I was watching a basketball game, and she would go, Alabama just had 4 people fall on the beam. I mean, they were done, both of them. And it is sad for them too, but you're right. I don't want to see Oklahoma win it again.
Yeah, they've won their share for a while. So it was good to see somebody else. How about Billy Horschel winning the tournament?
Billy Ho, man.
Corn Ferry Tour event?
No, it was it's a PGA Tour event, but they had like when you have these designated events, only so many guys can get into that. So they have other tournaments, and so he was playing down in Dominican, set the course record, set the tournament record. He was on fire. That's the only way to put it.
Yeah, Billy is our Gator, highest ranked Gator out there right now, for sure, I believe, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
And certainly, I think it was 2 years ago, he won a PGA event and been
struggling.
What did he say, a little slump or whatever, couldn't figure it out. But maybe this will give him the confidence to, be in the hunt. That golf's a tough sport when you think about it, Pat. In football, you got 100 guys on this team, 100 on that, and 100 guys are going to be winners. And you go to a golf tournament, there's about 80 that enter, I guess, and only one guy's going to be the winner. But if you can finish in the top 10 or even top 20, your payday's going to be pretty good. But those guys play to win, and it's good to see Billy get one.
Yeah, you think about it. I mentioned this earlier. He has won 8 tournaments now. To get in the Hall of Fame, you have to win 15.
Okay.
So he's more than halfway there now. I mean, and I'm not saying he's going to get there, but you have to win, or you could win 2 majors. I'm not sure and one of the majors could be the Players. So Scotty Scheffler's already he'll go in the Hall of Fame. We know that. And I did want to talk about him, but first we have to get to our Campus USA play of the weekend. And here it was right here from off the green, Billy Horschel for Eagle. Ooh, had a lot of speed on that putt, but it went in. And that really kind of got him going. And Billy and I are pretty good friends. And I tell you what, he is one of my favorite people in the world. He's always texting me. He goes, what do you think about our quarterback this year? What do you think about, he loves the Gators and everything. And, and including golf because, I mean, he's already signed up. He says, as soon as I'm done, I want to be the golf coach at Florida.
Is that right?
Yeah. Now, J.C. Deacon may say, well, wait, can you wait till I'm
JC's
done?
a youngster. Yeah, he's a youngster, and he's got Dudley Hart there with him also, which was a big
Right.
help, I think.
Right.
And nowadays they let the golf coaches go out on the greens and walk around with them, which was, I think, is
Oh,
smart.
I do. I agree with that.
If a quarterback can go talk to his coach between every series, the golfers ought to be able to do that also.
Yeah. Okay. So that was our Campus USA play of the weekend. We appreciate Campus USA for being the sponsor of that. And you talk about coaches being able to talk to guys, but how do you feel about and why do you think it took so long to get to a point where we're talking about helmets with, receivers in them, so the guy you don't have to get the play wrong. You don't have to send it in with a guy. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's amazing how long it took. We could have done that 25 years ago. They had the technology to do it, but somebody said it may cost an extra $200 or something. I don't know. But something that just should have been done a long time ago. Simple as that.
Yeah, I remember this very well. They put a rule in one year, and it said that you could go into a game. This would be like 73-ish. You could go into a game and come right back out. You didn't have to play in a play, and you could just go in and give them the play.
Yeah.
And so Florida used Chan Gailey. That was their guy. That he would take the play in and then come. He wouldn't play. Now he was the starter the year before, but and they finally Bear Bryant's the one who started doing that, and they went, no, that's not what we meant. No, never mind. We're not going to do that. It was. I think they were trying to get around what if a guy runs in and they got the wrong guy in, he could still come out. But I don't know. You would have liked that where you could just tell a guy to play and he'd run in and come back out. He wouldn't have to worry about it.
Well, that's what we did with our quarterbacks when we beat the number one team in the nation,
That's right.
FSU in '97. But teams have used all kind of like 3 or 4 guys doing signals. It sort of looks funny and looks sort of silly. So now the guy can just tell the QB the play. Have you been watching any of these UFL?
I have, yeah.
Man, are some of those plays long worded?
I know.
Man,
well,
can't they simplify those a little bit?
I remember when they were doing the Hard Knocks was on the Rams, and Jared Goff was a quarterback, and he couldn't figure out the plays because it would be
long
2
words.
slide banana, long, 3 wide, go here. That it would just go forever, and I would go, I don't remember, and I just heard it, But I mean, I don't understand. What was like for you? It was pretty simple play calling, right? It was just
split right, 55 semi X4.
there you go.
How hard is that? And it's always on 2, unless every now and then we'd say, all right, it's going to be on 3, but it's no play. We're trying to get the other team offside. And at times, if you go on 3, then your guy's going to jump. Those linemen, they just can't trust them. So just don't give them a play. Don't give them a play, and hopefully they won't jump, and it'll keep the other side honest.
All right, so that play you just called, what was that again?
Oh, I said split right. That's the formation.
So that means one guy split right, or is it 2 guys split right?
No, well, just one split backs. That's just a basic formation, split right. 50 is pass protection. Means 5 guys up front are blocking, and the 2 backs have their linebackers. If they blitz, if they not, they go out. And the pattern, 5 semi is a pattern. X over here, 4, would be a comeback for us. And quarterback would look and see what's best and pick one out and hit him.
I love that kind of
Simple as
stuff.
that.
Because,
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I think I know about football, I don't know anything about football. I don't know anything about play calling. I know what plays I think would work, but I don't know what I would call them. It's just this play,
Quarterback decisions are so important.
Yeah.
It's amazing watching some of these guys. And the announcer kept saying, oh, gee, he had the guy open right here, and I don't know why he's over there. So just where they look and what their mentality is a big part of playing quarterback.
It
Definitely.
is. Absolutely. I did want to go circle back to Scotty Scheffler and what's going on with him. Of course, this morning he ended up putting the wraps on the Heritage and winning that tournament. So it just feels like, why is everybody else playing? I mean, they got no chance.
Well, I watched him in the Masters pretty much the whole day. He missed the first 3 greens.
Yep.
I said, golly, if it was me, I'd be 3 over after 3. I'd chip about 8 feet and miss. He chipped up about 3 or 4 feet, made it every time. And and then went on and shot. What did he shoot that last day? 68, I think.
68, yeah.
68. Yeah, he hangs the back nine of the tournament. He seems to just ease away. He's really consistent, and his mental approach is probably the best of all of them. And I mean, he can hit it long, but I think his chipping and putting is really the big difference.
Well, that putting is the thing that's. He went to that mallet putter, and now he's making everything.
Making everything.
I mean, the one tournament he didn't win, he missed a 6-footer on the last hole that would have put him in a playoff.
Yeah.
That's the only tournament he didn't win.
Yeah, I remember watching that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just missed it.
But it is amazing still. I tried the two-step the other day, where you slide that right foot way forward.
Like he does?
Like he does. And I tell you what, it helped. It helped me get my momentum changed, and I hit the ball a little bit further. So I'm all for it. I'm gonna start doing that.
Two-step.
The Texas two-step.
I tell you, when he swings, he sort of looks like he's off balance a little bit, but not really. He finishes in the same spot every time. But when he swings, I think, well, this could be a little left of target, and then all of a sudden it's right in the middle of the green.
I know.
But he knows what he's doing.
The ball always seems to go where he wants it to go.
I mean, to win 4 out of 5 and finish second the other time.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Pretty amazing.
He's
Pretty
dominating.
amazing.
He is dominating.
Yeah, it has been great. We also have the
good
draft coming up Thursday. So in your day, the draft was not. You didn't have to go anywhere and be someplace, right?
No, our local attorney, Bill O'Neill.
Yeah.
I remember him.
Yeah.
He was a good friend to all the football players. We called him Uncle Willie. And I sat down in his office. He was on. Willie had his phones hooked up to somebody at the draft, whoever they were. There wasn't any TV back then. And he looked at me and he said, "Or the San Francisco 49ers just drafted you." I said, "What?" I talked to about 3 or 4 other teams, and never talked at all to them. But so anyway, that's where I ended up, and feel fortunate to get 9 years out there and 1 at Tampa Bay, and not get all beat up. Knocked out.
Well, you got beat up a little bit at Tampa Bay.
Yeah, never got knocked out. So it worked out. And that's what I told Kyle Trask. I said, try to be a backup for 4 or 5 years and then hopefully get a chance maybe to play 4 or 5. And you can work on your pension. But if you have to play early in your career with a bad team,
right.
This guy can't play. He's with a bad team. They lose, and you end up getting cut. And then it's I feel sorry a little bit for all the guys that are in that UFL because they sort of believe, hey, I'll be back in the NFL or I'll get a chance in the NFL. But, man, it's not many of them get an opportunity to go to the big leagues.
There's
There's so many people,
so
many good football players all over the country, so many good basketball players. Playing pro sport, you better really be excellent at your trade.
You think about all the great golfers that are out there, and then all of a sudden there's 15-year-olds that are coming through and doing stuff, and you watch a guy play golf, and you go, man, you should be on the tour, and you realize, no, he couldn't even qualify to go qualify.
I play with Gary Koch at the Danny Warfel fundraiser before the Georgia game every year. I said, Gary, you need to get out there on that senior tour, man. He said, Coach, those guys hit the ball 100 yards past me. I said, what? He said, yeah, I hit it about 240. They hit it 310, blah, blah, blah. I said, you're kidding. He said, no, they hit it just like the pros on the regular tour. So I said, but you can chip and putt and all that. But he's still doing a little announcing, and
I heard him on something the other day.
He's real good at everything he does, Gary Koch, and he's a Gator that
he is good.
Man, we're proud of everything he's done in golf.
Yeah, I did a thing on the 12 best or the most famous announcers from UF that went to school at UF, and it was a long list. It was very, in fact, I didn't include Gary because I wasn't sure if he was still announcing. But I did on a previous list, but he's still doing some. Yeah. And that I had, obviously Jesse is up there.
Jesse Palmer. Yeah, he's on everything. Melnick's doing radio now.
I heard Melnick doing. I was listening, believe it or not, to the radio from the Masters on my Sirius, and I'm like, Pat, it's bad when you're listening to golf.
That's what I was doing.
I was doing this. I heard Melnick.
I went over to Crescent this weekend, and so coming back. Sunday afternoon, I was listening a little bit to Meldon and those guys. Yeah, we've got a lot of announcers out there, men and women.
Yep.
Yeah, we are the journalism as well as the broadcasting school in the country, I think.
I've said this on the radio before. I think there should be some kind of an acknowledgement of all these famous people, like pictures on the wall or something, so that if you walk in there and you're an aspiring student, you go, God, that person went here, that person went here, Chris Collinsworth went here, Aaron Andrews went here. Steffi Sorensen is doing great, Laura
Rutledge, SEC Network.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my opinion, but nobody ever asked me what I think. So, all right, Coach, we'll let you go. You got anything else?
That's about it for right now. Baseball team hopefully can pick it up, get hot.
Yeah, they need to get
hot when the series start of the championship, the playoffs, and go from there.
That's amazing to have a guy hitting a homer in 9 straight games.
Yeah. Todd Golden, I think, got a good transfer here recently.
Huge.
I saw that player from SMU, was it?
No, from FAU, Florida Atlantic.
Oh, is that where he's from?
Who were in the Final Four just 2 years ago with him. Yeah. So he's doing really well, and we'll get Billy educated up on Crescent Beach eventually. Okay.
I don't know. That's a different day. These guys in coaching today, it's they have a little spare time though.
Yeah, we'll get them over there.
All right.
We'll drag him over there. All right, we are done with Coach Spurrier, but we always love having him on Meldon Mondays. We'll be back with more of another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
I was driving behind a lady, and very suddenly she moved out of the way. There was a log laying in the road, and when I hit my brakes, I went on top of the log. I had 2 herniated discs. I just haven't been the same since. Jeffrey Meldon fought for me all the way. Him and his team really went there for me. Throughout the whole lawsuit, he made sure that my bills was paid. It was never no whenever I called him and asked him for something.
Call Meldon Law right now.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444. Okay, and welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Always a pleasure to bring on Robbie Andrew on the Big Mills Cheesesteak Zoom line for Yes, No Way, or Maybe. Ra, how was your weekend? Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, Pat, how about you?
It's pretty good, yeah. Played, obviously, going out with you guys Friday night was fun. We had a good time there.
That was good.
Yep. Saturday I went and played 9 holes. And then Sunday I just watched golf and a little bit of gym, a little bit of other things, but mostly I watched golf. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too, Pat. Scheffler's unbelievable, isn't he?
Well, that brings me to my first question on Yes, No Way, or Maybe, brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak, street dining done the right way. If you won't go in there and say you saw the Love Boat or Robbie Andrews mug, then you get free fries with your order. Okay, number 1, Robbie. Yes, No Way, or Maybe. You like Scotty Scheffler at Valhalla in a little less than 4 weeks to win the PGA Championship.
Yes, I do, Pat. And I like him against the field in any tournament they play from here on out because he's the best golfer in the world right now. He intimidates people, not through just by he gets on the leaderboard and people back down from him, it seems like. Other people press and make mistakes while he just fairway, green, makes putts. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's like
he's Tiger.
Well, but that's the thing. Tiger did it because he was bulky and strong and looked like he could beat your ass, you know. Scheffler is like, I'm just going to pray for you, sir. And, and then goes out and shoots 68 or whatever he needs to shoot to win.
It's amazing how the ones that try to get close to him all have meltdowns at some point and knock themselves right out of contention.
Which is what happened with Tiger. I remember. I mean, especially
exactly
at Augusta. But it is, I tried the little two-step the other day, and it actually helped me too. So I'm gonna try to stick with it.
It's the coming thing in golf, Pat.
Yep. All right, Robbie.
Move those feet.
That's right. Yeah. What? Balance? We don't need no stinking balance. just slide your feet forward.
Move those feet all you want.
Yep. All right, number 2 on yes, no, where, maybe. Robbie, I've been looking at some websites that have a mock drafts, and most of them have like Ricky Pearsall, late second round. I'm going to ask you, yes, no, where, maybe. He goes before number 61, which is where ESPN has him.
I'm going to say yes, Pat. I think, his stock seems to be rising. I think he's going to be, mid-second round at the latest. So I think he'll go, fairly decent in the second round, not too deep into the second round. And he's had great workouts. He was great at the combine. And every time you look, people are saying he's definitely a guy that's going to make it in the NFL and has a chance to be a really good slot receiver. So I'm going to say middle of second round for him.
Yeah, I think so too. I was surprised he's that low. And look, you've got to have this superior body to go in the first round. You got to be Marvin Harrison or Malik Neighbors, who runs faster than anybody out there. But I hope Ricky does good. I hope he does well. He's another guy to be rooting for in the NFL. And again, we only have 2 that may get drafted. So,
I know.
Iguaquin,
it's not like the old days.
No. I remember going to the combine, Robbie. It was Tebow's senior year, and there were 10 Gators at the combine. This year there were 2. Okay.
Yeah.
And all of them were good players because if you remember, one of them was Jermaine Cunningham, and I'm like, really? He's going to the combine? He ended up playing for like 6 years with the Patriots. So.
Yeah, he did. He's had a decent career. But I think Pearsall's going to have a really long, productive NFL career, Pat.
I agree with you. I think he will too. Hopefully he stays healthy. All right, finally, number 3 on yes, nowhere, maybe, brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak, sponsor of the Bob Dooley Invitational. The Vikings end up with J.J. McCarthy. I keep wanting to say McCafferty. I can't get it out. The Vikings trade up and get J.J. McCarthy. That's what I'm asking.
I'm not in the Minnesota front office or anything like that. But to me, and everything I'm hearing, they would love to trade up to the 3rd spot to take one of the elite quarterbacks. If they can't get that high, I don't think they're going to make the move, and they'll just settle for someone else in the first round. So unless they can get to that number 3 pick to get one of the elite guys, I don't think they're going to take a quarterback. And McCarthy, I don't know if he'd be there when they do eventually pick. So. No, I'm going to say no on that one. No way.
Okay, yeah, because the 3 guys are Caleb will go first. We know that. Obviously, Jaden Daniels and then Drake May, who may end up being a commander. We'll see how that works out.
But, Pat, I'm not falling for all the J.J. McCarthy love about how he's such a great – all I remember is watching the Penn State game where they didn't even throw a pass in the second half. So if he is that great a quarterback, he would be throwing the ball in a game like that. So I don't know. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's as great as everybody thinks.
I think I'm not saying he's like Danny Werfel, but I think there's a lot of guys like that man, they are so successful and they win and they're really good and you want them on your team and you'd like them to be your number 2 quarterback. Yeah. But I don't see him being a franchise guy.
Yeah, I don't either, Pat. So unless
I hope you don't trade up and get that pick.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I'm okay with that.
All right, Robbie. We'll talk to you next Monday, okay?
Okay, Pat. Take care. Have a good one.
All right. Always great to have Robbie on the show. Always appreciate him on Yes, No, Where, Maybe. Let's get to our Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the weekend. So I should probably make Mackenzie Wooten a co-Gator Gator of the weekend because I made a big deal out of her, and now I've got another guy, and the other guy is Jack Caglione, and the reason is because not so much the home runs and all that has been unbelievable, and to do that with the pressure that's on him is unbelievable. But, I mean, the way he pitched yesterday was huge. They needed that badly. So both of them are pitchers. McKenzie, not Morgan. Morgan Wooten was the coach at DeMatha. I keep confusing that. McKenzie Wooten and Jack Caglione are Gators of the weekend, and congratulations to them. I don't know that we've ever mentioned those two in the same sentence before. But good luck for the rest of the season for both of them. Let us get to our Leonardo's and Millhopper quick picks. We'll make it easy for you. You know, I was going to do a Ricky Pearsall over-under 61st pick, but no, I'll just keep it simpler because some of you guys go, what? But and we will probably pull something probably next Monday, a week from today, and pull a winner. We're just going to give you the FSU Florida softball game Wednesday night. So it's in Gainesville. So FSU at Florida Wednesday night. Pick a winner. I don't know who to pick. I think they're pretty even teams. FSU may be a little bit better, but the game's in Gainesville. So I think it's kind of a toss-up. All right, let's get to, and I appreciate Leonardo's and Millhopper for their quick picks and for being a title sponsor of the Bob Dooley Invitational. Let's get to our Hesser and Kipke three things. And, of course, Hesser and Kipke is a Gainesville law firm specializing in the areas of family law and workers' compensation. If you're a loyal listener of this show, you know who we are by now. If not, Google the firm, check out the reviews, and hear what our clients have to say. Ken and Jennifer can be reached 24/7 via call or text at 352-339-9920, 352-339-9920, Hesser and Kipke, another sponsor of the Bob Dooley Invitational, and also will be playing in it. So make sure you get a picture of them while you're out there, Zach.
Sure.
All right, let's start with number one, and that is I thought Florida was peaking in gymnastics, but they obviously didn't have a great day Saturday. They weren't that bad. Scoring is weird in the NCAA tournament. I've been to a couple of them. It's different. They finished fourth in the country. That's fine, okay? I mean, with what they were missing, with DiCello, missing the season for the Olympics and their number one freshman not being there, and I thought they had a great year. And nobody enjoyed Saturday when they finished fourth. Nobody enjoyed when LSU won. I get that. I'm sure you were watching it. Some of you were watching it. My wife and daughter were watching it. They didn't enjoy that. But you have to stop. It's another one of those where you have to stop and go, you know what? Fourth in the country? Not too shabby considering they were so young. And they're just going to continue to get better. So congratulations to the Gators for finishing fourth in the country. I'm a big believer in where you finish and winning the SEC regular season championship as well. All right, number two on Hesser and Kipke's three things. You may have heard of this guy, Miles Russell. Miles Russell is 15 years old and just finished in the top 25 on the Korn Ferry Tour on Sunday. The first guy ever that age to finish that, or he was the youngest player to ever finish in the top 25. And Miles Russell is from the Jacksonville area, I'm pretty sure. Here's what you have to know about Miles Russell. He played in the Bob Dooley last year. He played in our tournament last year with a friend. He was 14 then. I would love it if he came back and played again this year, but congratulations to him, and he's a guy to keep an eye on. And I remember talking to him. He's just a great kid. But he finished in the top 25, youngest ever to do that in the Korn Ferry Tour. And, hey, playing in the Bob gets you places. There's no question about that. All right, let's get to our number three on our Hesser and Kipke three things. And that is I don't pay that much attention to a lot of baseball other than the Braves. Wasn't happy with the game last night. But I did look this up because I was curious who's stinking it up the most, and it's your Chicago White Sox. The White Sox were swept by Ken Hesser's Phils, so Ken Hesser's happy. But that made them 3-18 for the season. 10 teams have ever been 3-18. This team is one of them, the White Sox. I couldn't tell you one player on their team. Does Harold Baines still play for them? I don't. Maybe that's a reason I can't name one player on. But 3-18, it's pretty bad. So they're the worst. Right now, they're the worst. We'll see how it all works out. That's our Hesser and Kipke. 3 things. And congrats to your Phils for getting a sweep there over a high school team. Okay. All right, let's wrap it up with our Swamp Games of the Week. We got a lot of stuff going on this week. And, of course, this weekend, we'll get to the weekend later on Thursday's show. But this week, Tuesday night's game, Florida plays Stetson in baseball. Big deal because Stetson already beat them once in Stetson. And Florida, who knows who they're going to end up pitching tomorrow night. 6:30 game. It is on the Plus if you want to watch it on the Plus. Florida FSU softball is only on the Plus as far as I know. I'll check on that, but that's what it's listed as, ESPN Plus only. You would think that Florida FSU softball, 2 ranked teams from the state of Florida. No. Why bother? All right, so we have that going on. Also, just going to give you a quick Monday. If you don't have the NBA Network, which a lot of you don't, I'm sure, but I do have it, but the game Monday, or one of the games Monday night, in fact, one game every night is going to be on the NBA Network. In this case, it's a Magic game. And I know a lot of you won't be happy with that at Cleveland. Maybe it'll still be on Bally or something. But anyway, that's what it's listed as on the NBA Network. There's 3 games on Monday, 3 games on Tuesday, 2 games Wednesday, and 3 on Thursday. All of them are either on TNT or the NBA Network. So if most of them are on TNT, but 1 game a night on the NBA Network. Just keep an eye out for that. If you don't get it, I'm sure you can find it somewhere or you can go to the Swamp Restaurant. I guarantee you they'll be able to get it for you. And the Swamp is a good place to go to have graduation parties, man. As is this place. There's going to be a lot of people in here. There's going to be a lot of people at the Swamp. I'm going to be home the whole time, I think. Actually, I think we have somewhere we're going, too. All right, and finally, the draft is Thursday, 8 p.m. on ABC and ESPN. And I'm not a big fan of watching drafts anymore. I used to love to watch them, but I just don't want to sit there and watch all the guys that beat Florida get drafted, And this guy from Georgia and this guy, from Utah. So anyway, but that's for your benefit. I won't be watching. All right, that's going to do it for another Dooley Noted podcast for another day. Zach with another great job. Appreciate him. Appreciate Coach Spurrier. Appreciate Robbie Andrew. We'll be back Thursday with a brand new show, and we'll have fun with that. Until then, I am Pat Dooley. I am deep. I am way back, and I am out of here.